Welcome, everybody, to TRB Live. Welcome to the Resistance broadcast. I'm John. That is Lacey. Thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you joining us live, happy Thanksgiving Eve. For those of you slaving over a stove, Thanksgiving morning, happy Thanksgiving. Put us in your ears. Tone everyone else out in the house. And let's talk Star Wars. We're very excited because we have a fun one today. We're going to have a discussion later. Pretty basic, pretty simple, but more about how we feel now about why we're thankful for Star Wars in our lives. And having brand new Star Wars coming in just a few days with Skeleton Crew. So, Lacey, how we doing? I know you and I talked before. You said you already prepared a pumpkin pie, I believe. So how are things over at your abode?
Things are well. We're going to family tomorrow. I'm excited to watch the parade in the morning with my kids, and I am on pie duty this year. So I made an apple pie a long time ago, not in a galaxy far, far away, in my house, with fresh apples that I picked in the fall here in New England. So I froze it. It's been frozen this whole time, like Han Solo. It's just been sitting in my freezer.
Nice.
And then I made a pumpkin pie today from scratch. And then tomorrow morning, I'm making a key lime pie from scratch.
Are any of those better than the pie I threw in your face in London?
That wasn't a pie. That was whipped cream on a paper plate. I wouldn't count that as a pie.
It was fresh, though.
Like the pies that were thrown in our face previously were like lemon meringue pies, like actual pies. That was just whipped cream on a paper plate. Like we did what we had to do to get it done. But no, I would not say that is better than my homemade, like from scratch pies.
No, sounds very good. Yeah, we're going to we're staying local. We're just driving about an hour away to Kathleen's extended family, and we're doing that. I don't have much intention of watching the Giants football game.
Aren't you a Giants fan?
I am a Giants fan, but they are a burning pile of garbage right now.
Great.
So, yeah. Also, Denis Villeneuve, I don't want you making Star Wars anyway, dude. So it's all good.
You're very fired up about that tweet.
Well, here's the thing. Like,
hold on, you gotta give some background.
Okay, so Denis Villeneuve was talking about how he doesn't want to make a Star Wars movie because he feels like Star Wars jumped the shark with Return of the Jedi back in 1983. Yeah. He said it all of a sudden became a comedy for kids, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly what it is. So I always thought that guy was kind of an elitist, and then he's like the ultimate elitist because even Return of the Jedi isn't good Star Wars to him. So no chance of him liking anything else. And honestly, if I ever need to take a nap and I can't sleep, I'll pop Dune on. So thank you for that, Denis Villeneuve. Though Prisoners is a really good movie, I'll say that. But you can keep your elitist attitude and thumbing your nose at George Lucas and Lawrence Kasdan to yourself. All right?
People are really wild with their, I don't know, IP, like big franchise opinions. Like people always have to be like, I would never. It's like, okay, enjoy.
Too good for you, Star Wars.
You don't like fun, apparently.
Yeah. Well, at least other people are making Star Wars. So we're going to be talking about that a bit later. We have updates. Just so everyone knows, we are doing Ask the Resistance later in the show. We actually preloaded questions because we prompted them on Blue Sky. That's where we're doing Resistance transmissions now, Ask the Resistance. So be sure, if you follow us on social media, also follow us on Blue Sky at TRB Podcasts. Thank you very much for that. And Lacey, let's talk about the website. Let's get into it. TRBpodcasts.com is going to be our new public spot. You can watch our videos on there. You can get links to the podcast and also our brand new store. If you're watching on the video, Lacey just put up an image. New TRB merch is here. We have Galactic Goonies stuff. A bunch of people have already bought them. Some have already gotten them. I saw Neil post his mug. He had a nice mug of coffee before a work day. But check it out, trbpodcast.com. And Lacey, we are getting into the trend of Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales. So why don't you let them know what's going on this weekend?
Yeah. So just like everyone else, we're bombarding you with more Black Friday sales. So this Friday only, we're going to have a Black Friday code, TRB Black Friday, for 10% off. Hopefully that is something that people enjoy. I would hope, because I think it's a pretty good sale. And then also we're going to have this limited edition TRB bomber jacket, which is only available on Friday, on Black Friday. Now, if you're a Spice Runner patron on our Patreon, you will get one of these. We're sending one your way. So please don't buy one, because I'll feel really bad. But if you aren't a Spice Runner and you still want to be part of the club, you can buy your own, which is exciting. So this is just one of the examples of the things that we're offering with this new website, is they have like all these different kind of high-end items and unique items that we're just really excited to try out. So this is one of them, and it's an embroidered jacket. So it's not like printed on, they embroider the TRB logo on there, the new one.
Yeah, you got to clean that thing with like a toothbrush. Did we get one of these?
We did.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah. So that's the other thing to keep in mind for people that buy anything from our site. So there's two different items. There's the printed item, which is what most people are used to. And then there are embroidered items, whether it be hats or jackets or sometimes sweatshirts. Like our crew neck sweatshirt is embroidered with TRB. Those take a little bit more time. So sometimes your order will be shipped separately, like two parts will ship at different times. And that's because these ones are literally embroidered with whatever the logo or design is, which is kind of cool. But I'm really excited about it. I've been working on other designs like behind the scenes that will come out over time. So we're trying to really, from your guys' feedback, update our merch on the regular. But the big thing, like John said, is our Galactic Goonies stuff, which is out right now, which is going to be out throughout the time of Skeleton Crew. And then once it's over, that stuff's going to go away. So
yeah. And the Galactic Goonies stuff, I better get used to saying that, because that's going to be everything I'm saying for the next 8 weeks. But that stuff looks great, and I'm excited to get mine and wear that stuff. But also, as another thank you, we are doing a Patreon Friendsgiving right after the show tonight. So if you want to keep the party going, all of our admirals, generals, and spice runners join us. The link is on Patreon. It's just going to be a hangout. Grab a glass of wine. I might put my bathrobe on to get comfy and cozy, and we're going to have a good time. So hopefully we see you following this show right now. But it's time to get into the show, and we have a lot to talk about.
Did you not want to talk about Galactic Goonies?
Yeah, let's talk about Galactic Goonies. Let's do it.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to make this a really top-heavy show, guys. I just want to make sure we get everything out there for people that are tuning in for certain periods of time. So first of all, Galactic Goonies is still kicking off next Wednesday. I know the show is coming out a day early, which is so great. However, we're sticking with Wednesday just because that's what we've had done in our schedule. That's what we figured out. And we do want to announce our first wave of guests for Galactic Goonies. John, why don't you say who it is?
All right. So covering episode 3 with us is going to be Alex and Mac from Children of the Watch. We're very excited to have them back on the show. That's going to be on December 11th. So tune in to hang out with those guys and us. It's going to get bananas, we promise you. And then the next week on December 18th, Alex and Molly from Star Wars Explained will be with us. And then the following week, that Friday, because of Christmas, so on December 27th, Jen Marie from Anakin and His Angel, the longest running, or one of the longest running Star Wars blogs, is going to be back in the base, I think for her third time. But
second or third, yeah.
Yeah, so we have those 3 sets lined up, and then many more to come as we become Galactic Goonies together, talking all about Skeleton Crew. So be sure to join us, kicking it off with just Lacey and I next Wednesday, December 4th, to talk about the first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew, and then each week thereafter joined by these guests. And also, don't forget, we always do these on these shows. We are going to be doing a season-long giveaway contest.
I was going to say a scale. We have to do, I guess, a Neil scale.
We have to do a scale. Yeah, Neil sounds good to me. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. But there will be a new rating scale, but also maybe a treasure-themed, in the spirit of Skeleton Crew, giveaway contest, and a lot more of good fun too, as we always do on those live shows. I have a feeling Galactic Goonies is going to rival the Mando fan show in popularity. And I know that's a big thing to say, but I'm excited about the whole vibe going on with the Skeleton Crew show.
Yeah, just like Skeleton Crew has got the nostalgic feel to it. We've been talking about obviously Goonies, 80s Amblin stuff. Like
Yep.
our guest lineup is very nostalgic. They're all people that we've had great times with, over the years, some early on TRB and then some recent from TRB. So it's just really fun to have all our kind of Star Wars creator friends come pop by to talk about this show. That's, I think, going to be a really, really good time. I'm super pumped about it.
So Lacey,
What?
there's already a bunch of people in the chat saying they want it to be a Bognor scale.
Bognor. If I knew that character's name, I would totally do it, but I can't make it a scale of a character that technically doesn't have that name. I mean, we can make it that, but I feel like Neil's the one we got to go with because he's kind of the guy.
Yeah.
This show.
And
Oh,
Neil,
Kyle Baker doesn't know who Bogdor is. Hold on one second, guy. I got you. That's Bogdor. The green guy in the front. He was
forgot
just
his homework.
It was just a name that I came up with for the character that just seemingly is out of it.
Yeah.
Collectively.
And students, now please turn in your essays. And he's like,
oh no.
Neil, do my homework for me. Okay, buddy. Oh man, I am so excited for Skeleton Crew. Phil Tippett back. It's just feeling good. That was a big part of why on the State of Star Wars last week I was pretty amped up about what's going on. But now it's time to get into a bunch of things because we have 3 segments to tackle here. So let's get after it because we also have a party to get to after this. So let's kick things off with You Love It, We Love It. It is Will of the Force.
I fear nothing, for all this, as the Force wills it.
It makes its return. Will of the Force is back on the podcast. So I'm not going to go into crazy detail. You guys got a lot of it at the top of the show, but this is an opportunity to be a part of the show through our Patreon as well, patreon.com/TRB podcasts, where you and John propose, will they, won't they, will this happen, won't it happen, scenarios or situations, if you will. And we give our answers and our thoughts and we discuss them accordingly. So first up, we do have a submission from Patreon from a newly promoted admiral. Thank you, sir. Michael, aka Padawan Michael. He asks, will there be an episode 10 announcement at Star Wars Celebration in Japan? John.
100%. They will reveal episodes 10, 11, and 12. Daisy Ridley will be there. John Boyega will be there. BB-8 will be there. They'll bring them all out. They're all coming out. They may even have a Falcon there for all we know.
Oprah's going to be there.
Oprah might be there.
You get it.
Yep.
No.
Yep. Oprah's directing the trilogy is what I understand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really think that's what's going on here. I could be wrong, but like we've talked about ad nauseum as to why, a couple episodes back, we did a lot of Charlie Day dot connecting, and it all just points to this making sense based on the direction Bob Iger wants to take these IPs. What do you think, Lacey?
Yeah, I think it's pretty, I don't know, this is a pretty straightforward, like locked in question for me because it's the biggest Star Wars event of the year and they're doing it in this brand new place in Japan, which I believe they did one previously a while ago in Japan, but compared to it being in the US, I think they're going to go big and I think Disney needs them to go big with announcements. So that's why they're going to bring up some news about the sequel trilogy, but I do think, and we've said this before, that the focus of Celebration Japan is going to be Andor because the season premieres like literally that Monday or Tuesday the following week. Mm-hmm. So I think they're really dialed in on Andor and what comes of that season. But they will make some news announcements and this will be, I'm sure Daisy will be there.
And also forever, because they were so late to the party with this, I think this is another huge opportunity for Star Wars to capture the Asian market because like all these other IPs just crush at the box office there, Transformers, like Venom, like anything
Alice in
Marvel.
Wonderland.
Yeah. And Star Wars hasn't been able to convince people to join the party. And I think if you say, we are announcing this massive next chapter in the main line here on your home turf, it's almost like courting. Like I'm in the season where I'm so desperate for the Yankees to re-sign Juan Soto. So it's like you're courting your favorite players. We're Star Wars fans, if we want these movies to succeed, we're hoping that the international market boosts it up because we know how box offices are these days. It's more important than ever for Star Wars not to have to rely on domestic box office moving forward. So you gotta swing big here because who knows when they're going back there for a future event. So I know there's been some celebrations, like I think it was 2022. There wasn't a lot announced really. 2023 there were movies announced, but things have changed since then. This is one of those celebrations because they may skip a year and do the 50th in 2027. This is one of those celebrations where I think they got to hit a home run and make headlines over there and hopefully stir something up and get people into the mix.
Yeah, I could see that. They need to grab some attention because they've lost, I think, some general audience points lately with these very specified series. Now, of course, we're saying this before Skeleton Crew comes out, and I'm hoping it's going to make a big splash with that kind of general, like, oh yeah, Star Wars is cool audience. Like, it's fine. Because those are the people they need to bring in. They've already got us diehard fans. They need to bring in the people outside of our little circle. But leading into the next question we have from Patreon again, it's from Commander Joey Sack. What up, Joey? Happy Thanksgiving. He said, will the animation studios returning for Visions Volume 3 do sequels to their short films from their first volume, or will they do all new standalone short films? I wouldn't mind a follow-up to The Ninth Jedi from Volume 1, and he did eyeball emoji. John, do you think they're going to do something new, or they're continuing on from their original stories?
Hitting it back to you.
Oh, okay. I think it's going to be a little of this, a little of that. I think there are some stories like The Ninth Jedi that the creators had specified they did want to continue on, and they did wanted to do some type of future tale from that series or that sequence of character storytelling. But I also think that there are people that only wanted it to be a one shot, so they're going to just do something completely different just to be able to do it. So I'm going to go half and half. I don't know if that's a question or not question. That's a good answer for you, Joey. But I think that's what it's going to be because I don't think every single one of them is going to just continue on, but I don't think every single one of them is going to say, yeah, this is just a continuation of the thing we did last time.
Yeah, I think in the spirit of what Vision stands for from a storytelling perspective, it is a freedom and release from that preciousness of canon and continuity and connectivity. And for that reason, I think they're going to do all original stuff because if they start making sequels to Volume 1 stuff, then it develops its own canon. And it's like we start doing it all over again. And if they do it again later, it's like, well, then why in Volume 1, Ninth Jedi, did he talk to him like that? And that's like, oh no, we're back in canon. We got trapped in canon again. So I think that's going to be all original stuff, but they brought people back because of the reception to those volumes. And they were probably booked with other things when Volume 2 was going on. So that's what I think. I think it's going to be all original. I would not mind if they continue it, but for the sake of what Vision stood for from that non-canon perspective, I hope it's all another one and done original set of stories.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to selfishly say that I do want, Ninth Jedi to be continued. And I think there was a couple other ones that I was like,
10th
I love to
Jedi,
see.
11th
10th.
Jedi.
Yeah. All right. And last but not least, we have one more Patreon submission, this time for Will of the Force, which comes from new Commander Anders, which I'm going to tell a fun story before we get to your question, Anders. Anders recently joined our Patreon community. He's been listening for years, he told us. But I had a funny situation this week where I got tagged on Blue Sky by Anders, and he said I was in town at a brewery enjoying a couple beers, and I struck up a conversation with a waitress who was wearing a really cool Star Wars t-shirt. And lo and behold, it was your sister, Lacey. So, at the same time that happened, my older sister texted me a photo of you guys. I wish I had put it on my computer to share. I'll have to share it on social media, but a photo of you guys at the brewery chatting, which was hilarious. And she had told me that she was wearing a Celebration shirt that I had gotten her years ago, it was like a Star Wars poster in German. And she was like, "Oh, I was wearing that shirt from Celebration." And Anders had asked me if I was going to Celebration. I said no, but my sister is, and she's going with her podcast. And he had said, "Oh, what podcast? I love podcasts, Star Wars podcasts." And she goes, "The Resistance broadcast." And he goes, You're Lacey's sister?" And she was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "You were just visiting her." And she said she laughed so hard because she was like, yes, I was. I was just visiting her. Because a couple weeks ago, she was here
Right.
for my son's birthday. But it's just so funny that, chatting with you guys and you guys hearing our stories every week, I don't realize that like it impacts my family members that they're like, yes. But Anders, we're so happy for you to be a part of the community. I was just chatting with you today, actually, to get you on our Discord. So I can't wait to chat more and learn more about you, but it's just such a small world. And that was such a funny text message thread to get this week from both of you. And shout out to my sister. What up, Chelsea? How's it going? So your question, Anders, was, will there ever be a sequel trilogy special edition, John?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Like, then JJ, like, why would JJ come back to make an updated thing? That was all rooted in George Lucas's passion and obsession with the advancement in film technology. That's what the special edition is. Like,
I think also sometimes when people love something, this is a terrible example, but I'm going to use it. Sometimes when people really like something that they've done, like with me with a graphic design piece or a video, no matter how good it looks, you keep going back and fiddling with it. And you're like, and then it gets to a point that you're like, I shouldn't have even touched it. I should just.
yeah. Yep. So is that your answer? No.
Oh, I was just continuing what you were saying. I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a thing. I think it's the sequel trilogy. I can't see them. That was a George Lucas thing. I don't think that's the thing that's going to continue on.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with you too. I think the only kind of like special edition I could see is a Blu-ray that had like more behind the scenes stuff or interviews with the creators. Like I don't see them touching the actual film. And I know that can be confusing, especially now in this digital era where you have them changing things on The Mandalorian, like the night it comes out with the jeans guy, where they're like, no, take this out. So or they're just erasing content like Willow. It can get confusing sometimes of like, will they, won't they? I just don't think, or McClunky. Yep, people are saying in the chat McClunky, of course. But again, original trilogy. I don't think they're going to touch the sequel trilogy right now. Anyways, the only thing I was thinking that they might do is I could see them adding Force ghosts at the end of the Rise of Skywalker.
To where?
When Rey's talking to all of them, all the Jedi.
Oh yeah.
I could see them adding Force ghosts there, and I also selfishly want them to add Force ghosts there. I would have loved that if they did that. I would have been happier with the movie if they did that.
The only thing I think I would change is when Rey's getting very like dark and violent with Kylo Ren in the forest on Starkiller in The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
If, like they had in the book, she heard Palpatine's voice.
I would have loved that too, because it was in the book. You're right, because we were like breaking that down and talking about the book versus the movie.
Because it makes Episode 9 less jarring.
And then the movements she does in the Starkiller base,
the stabbing motion, yeah. So because in the book it says she hears a dark voice and stuff. If they just put sort of like when you hear Obi-Wan's voice when she's having the vision earlier in the movie, like Rey, your first steps. If you heard a villainous thing in her head on Starkiller, just that little bit. Don't change anything else. Just put those little voices out there. It makes it feel like a more fuller story with what they did in 9.
Yeah, they did add the Palpatine is in that vision she has. There's like that yell. Where she is in Cloud City and then she falls onto the other planet. There's like this yell sound that sounds like Palpatine that goes from like Yoda to whatever.
Oh yeah, I gotta listen to that again. I
mean, the Kenobi thing was just such a miss, but we won't get into that. That is something I could see them changing. I don't think they will. I don't think they're going to touch the sequel trilogy. I could just see them releasing more behind the scenes footage or like deleted scenes that they didn't have in the movie. But I don't see them going back and like adding dewbacks to go across the screen or anything. Like, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
To answer your question, but that is all we have this time. So now we're going to head into the discussion.
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
All right. We're thankful for new Star Wars, and new Star Wars is upon us. Skeleton Crew is next, but I just figured it's Thanksgiving. Let's have just like a laid back chat. No necessarily direction. And just be thankful that we are living in a time where we are getting new Star Wars, specifically new live action Star Wars in just days. Because George Lucas, honestly, if he wanted to 12 years ago, he could have been like, Star Wars is over. That's it. There it is.
Isn't that wild to think about, that he could have just been like, no, I'm not selling it. It's just
so
done.
Easily he could have done that. Or he could have said, I'm not selling, I'm not making anymore, maybe one day. And it just floated out there as this hope. But he cashed out, got $4 billion. I know he did a lot with charity with a lot of that, but he sold it away so that more stories could be told. And here we are. Like, this podcast wouldn't be here. We started in 2017. So just want to talk about where we stand today and the fact that we're still getting new live action Star Wars and how appreciative we are of that. Before we do, I did just see a super chat themed similar to this come through. So I would love to get that on screen.
Sure. So thank you, Darth Snips, for the super chat. What up, girl? She said, just want to say happy Thanksgiving to the entire TRB community and family. So thankful for all of you. Heart. Thank you for bringing us together, John and Lacey. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for being here, Darth Snips.
Happy Thanksgiving.
What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish, by the way, John? Have we ever talked about this? We've done now. This is the seventh Thanksgiving that we've been podcasting for. 8th? 7th?
Allow me to save that for later in the show.
Oh, I didn't know if there was a question about it. Okay, never mind.
Or we can do it now if you want. We'll give him a shout out.
No.
Right.
We'll hold it. All right. Shows you that I don't look at people's questions ahead of time.
Now the person knows who it is. He's like, oh, my time. Let me fast forward.
No, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it. And that is actually something that I didn't mention at the top of the show. We're doing something very cool with super chats going into Galactic Goonies, so stay tuned for that. We'll announce it on the first episode.
Do I even know about this?
Yes, of course you do. We've been talking about this for months, John. Come on.
There's a lot going on. All right.
Come on.
Yeah. So Lacey, with Skeleton Crew, we got to see a few episodes early. We can't, necessarily release our thoughts on it, but you and I have been psyched about this show for a while, just from the aesthetic and how it feels and that nostalgic feeling, and also that the return of humor, adventure, excitement, and fantasy and all that stuff. So just the fact that we're a few days away from a brand new Star Wars show coming out that I'm pretty confident people are really going to love. How are you feeling? Like, I know you're always thankful for Star Wars, but as we stand here today and what's ahead of us with movies and all that sort of thing, like, where are you at in terms of your thanks for this franchise right now?
Well, I think we did State of Star Wars last week, didn't we? And I gave it a B+, in the sense of like, I'm excited of what's to come of Star Wars, but I'm also apprehensive and anxious because there have been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of stuff that's in development that we haven't heard about. Rian Johnson said he was doing a trilogy in 2017, and it's now 2024. We haven't heard one thing about it. Yeah, I'm excited for Star Wars. I'm honestly the most excited about hype coming from Star Wars. I'm excited for Skeleton Crew. I think people are really going to love it. It's like a warm, fuzzy, fun show to watch. And I think more general audience are going to enjoy it compared to like the darker stuff or the stuff that gets really into the lore of Star Wars or kind of the deeper canon stuff, like maybe an Acolyte or an Andor. I hope that the community, as in the Star Wars community as a whole, not ours. I would never speak badly about ours. Ours is amazing. The bigger Star Wars community can just enjoy themselves and have fun during the holiday season. Strategically, it was a great choice for Star Wars and Lucasfilm and Disney to release this at this time because it's something that's people are really going to enjoy cuddling up on the couch with some blankets and hot cocoa and watching this. But yeah, I guess I'm great, but I'm not like, oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened. But I'm excited for what's to come. I think I will be at the point that I was at Celebration, which is crying because of Rey. Once we get more news from Rey and it's in production and we've seen like a trailer or something, then I'll be just over the moon.
Yeah, I agree. And look who has popped in the chat.
Who's in the chat? Oh,
They're
hi. Children of the Watch, what up? We just announced you. Wait, hold on. Let me bring it up. You guys look so good on this
See
image.
yourselves.
You look so good on this
Look at
image.
these guys at the premiere of the Acolyte.
Ooh, look at that
Those
smolder.
guys.
The smolder.
They called each other and they're like, how dark of a shade are you wearing? He's like, really dark. How dark of a shade are you wearing? He's like, even darker.
No, they look so good.
They do. Look great.
Collectively, I'm not just saying this. I think the Star Wars fandom is a very good-looking fandom. Like,
Yeah, good looking nerds.
good job,
across the
guys.
board.
Way to go.
Yeah, so December 11th, Alex and Mac will be with us. Make sure you check out all their stuff. They did a pirate deep dive and a lot of speculation.
I've been loving their stuff.
Alex is one of the wildest speculators I have ever met in my life, and I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for their episode because you know it's going to get bananas. So get your bananas ready.
Yeah. Yes. We're going to have a good time with them. But yeah, Skeleton Crew, I just have a good feeling that this is going to be received well. It is the perfect time of year for that. Everyone's got the cozies. Everyone's feeling good. Everyone's checked out at their day jobs. You know,
I mean, don't people check out like literally the Monday before Thanksgiving? Like all the memes are like me having to go to the office right now. And it's all like, yeah, okay. Or it's that beer shot of Will Ferrell where he's opening the beer and it's like, see you in 2025.
Oh, yeah. When you start hearing the emails, let's circle back after the new year or whatever.
Yeah. Those start like mid-October.
Yeah. I mean, June at this point. But yeah, I'm feeling really thankful for Star Wars because there's just always so much going on in life, and you know, whether it's like, oh, I gotta fix this on my house, or like the job is stressing you out or whatever. And we're about to get, 4 hours of brand new Star Wars over the course of the next 7 weeks. It's just so exciting, and I love that they have it set where now it's debuting at specific times and days where people can sort of unite around it and experience it together. And I just really think this show is going to get back to that old school, simple narrative, simple story, but also this massive adventure. And the whole look of this show, from all the trailers, all the clips, everything, the aesthetic, I feel like it's one of those shows you can repeat these episodes because you can divert your eyes all over the screen in different times when you watch it and see a creature that you didn't see the first time, or see somebody in the background that looks like somebody you might know from another movie or something. There's going to be a lot to look at in this show, and I think it's going to be a very rewatchable one. So I'm super thankful for that. I'm also thankful that we got a chance to, like we talked about last week, we got a chance to ask some questions to John Watts and Chris Ford. Hopefully they're going to be Galactic Goonies with us on this journey. Come on the show, guys. Come on, TRB. Let's talk about Skeleton Crew. Also these kids. I'm thankful for these kids because these kids can act today, man. I really am excited to see what these kids bring to the table. Now, I don't know if they're going to continue on beyond this. Obviously, they're going to be getting older. So if stories continue, their characters are going to have to age up, and you're going to like maybe lose that innocence. Because I just started a Harry Potter movie rewatch, and I got through.
Really?
Yeah, I love those movies.
Wow.
And this is
I
the
do
time.
too, but I'm just surprised.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just surprised that you are watching that.
Yeah, just well, not like
Just with
what.
everything that you always have on your list to watch. I didn't think you would have time for a rewatch. That's all.
Yeah, it's usually like the last thing I do before bed when everyone's asleep already. I'll pop one
Mhm.
on and like I'll pick it up the next night where it left off. But like how those progressively got darker as the kids got older, as like I'm at the end of like Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm like, goodbye, innocence. We're about to enter all this darkness now, and
But the music is so good.
amazing. Yeah,
Mhm.
especially John Williams for the first two or three.
Mhm.
But I just feel really good about what's going on with Skeleton Crew, and I'm super excited for the Mandalorian and Grogu. Like, and I'm also excited that it's, like I said last week, sort of like flying under the radar a little bit. Like that movie's almost done filming. A Star Wars movie that's coming to the big screen, directed by Jon Favreau, is for all intents and purposes finished filming. With all the stress and nervousness when we hear about Star Wars movie productions. Will they film it? You know, Rogue One was ready to go as far as we knew, and it
Mhm.
vanished. So until they start filming this stuff, because I don't think Star Wars is ever going to do what WB did to like Batgirl and like make a full movie and then just like say like, and nobody will ever watch it, you
You
know?
say that, but they did get rid of Willow.
But people watched it.
People
Batgirl,
watched it for what, 2 weeks?
I know, but it came out and people got to experience it and have a chance to watch it if they wanted to. Batgirl literally was not released
I know, it
anywhere.
wasn't released to anybody. Yeah, you're right, you're
So,
right.
so once we hear that these movies start filming, we can rest a little bit as fans knowing it's coming. And this one is pretty much done on schedule. Jon Favreau, MVP, and we're getting that in just a year and a half.
Mhm.
And it's gonna fly by. Think about how um Star Wars Celebration London feels like to me. It feels like it was this summer or something, and it was a year and a half ago.
That's wild.
So take that time
But I
and
also
boom.
had a kid in between then and now, so
Yeah, you know,
it's a little bit more wild for me, and it does feel like a year and a half.
I hear you. I have 6 and 3-year-olds. Crazy.
Yeah.
Surprised you can't hear them right now. But yeah, that time is gonna cook, and all of a sudden we're gonna be sitting in the theater watching a brand new Star Wars movie. So, and do you now remember Kathleen Kennedy said the crawl's coming back? I think it is, but I bet not for Mando for some reason. Like
You don't
Mando
think
just
they're
has
called?
its
I think they're keeping it to the saga films. I think
yeah.
that the Rey film will have one. I
Yeah.
don't think Mando will. If it does, it'll probably have, like, the blue text in the beginning, but not like a crawl, like they've
Yeah.
done for Rogue One, they did it for Solo,
Yep.
other projects, like, I don't
Yeah.
see them doing a full-on crawl for Mandalorian, but maybe they will because Jon Favreau wants one,
Yeah. And Ahsoka had like the red text for Thrawn, I think.
which I liked. Yeah, it was more
That was cool.
themed to that show. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Um Now we're going to talk about it later, so I don't want to get into it too much now. But just want to see how much you've been paying attention to the news of late.
yeah. Mm.
That there's reports about Ahsoka doing a season 2, but that being it. Someone asked us about it later, but I just want to get your read on if you heard that or not.
I didn't hear that. Did
Okay,
that get announced by someone?
it's making the rounds.
Mm,
I don't think it's anything official, but
mm.
you
Yeah,
know,
I didn't hear that, but if that's it, then that's it. Like, Dave's doing it, so if that's his story, then I
Like,
trust him more than
that's
anybody else to be
yeah,
like, "Yeah, this is it."
yeah,
And I'm always for cutting something short and wanting more than going too long and being like, "Man, this should end, like, 2 seasons ago."
yeah. I agree. I agree. I'm also
Yeah.
I have to say I'm thankful for Star Wars right now because Johnny's been really playing with his Star Wars toys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he
That's
asked me
fun.
to play all the time, and what he'll do is he has them all in a shoebox. He has the weapons in a different box, and he dumps them all onto his bed, and he splits them up. He like drafts them for us, and of course I get like a Weequay, and he gets like Luke, you know,
It's
like
Freetown now.
yeah. I'm like, Johnny, is this a real fair, equitable split in characters? He's like, well, yeah, we could trade, and but he's setting up scenes where he's the TIE fighter and he's hitting the 2 buttons so the wings blow off, and I have the Falcon and we're doing the sound effects. I'm like, Johnny, you should just get set up, like we should set up a phone and like make a little movie.
Is that the TIE fighter I gave him?
We use both. I have the
Oh,
power.
I'm so happy he's using it. That makes me
Oh
so
yeah, we're
happy.
blowing that up. We're blowing up the power of the
Spoiler
force
alert,
one I have.
anytime I have things I need to get rid of, I just give them to Johnny.
Sometimes, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's having such a blast with it, and I'm also thankful to go back to Skeleton Crew because I'm gonna let him stay up and watch this with me on Monday night and see what he thinks about it. Because I think because his first movie theater experience was when I took him to see The Phantom Menace in May in the re-release,
Oh, right, you had said that.
and he really loved it, and he was dialed in the whole time. But seeing Anakin do the things Anakin was doing, I remember being a kid, you put yourself in the shoes of people who look like you. Like when I watched Home Alone, it came out when I was 8 years old. Kevin was 8 years old. I'm like, I'm Kevin. I'm that guy. Like, and seeing Johnny like watch these kids, I hope he like feels like, oh, I'm going on this adventure with these kids, So I'm so excited. Daisy's still a little young. She's only 3.5. But Johnny,
Yeah.
he's 6. I think this is like really the right time to like let him latch on to something that is new for Star Wars, because Phantom Menace came out 25 years ago. Like this could be his new Star Wars, So I'm very thankful for that because I have liked all that's come out, Andor, Acolyte, but it's dark. Like my son will not sit and watch that. It's just like watching two people.
I mean, my husband won't watch that. And he loves spy thrillers, and like he was just like, nope.
Yeah, and it's great, and I'm glad we have it, and we can sort of like hang our hat on that it's critically acclaimed and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And
man.
Acolyte, was not my favorite, but it had its moments, and I liked some of the things it did.
I loved the anticipation of what was going to happen. I loved seeing Lee Jung-jae. I loved
Oh yeah,
us literally spending hours each week being like, what could happen? This is good. That was my favorite part. The show
or thinking
itself,
we
not my
figured it out.
favorite.
And
Yeah,
we
thought we did, and we were literally that meme that was like, I've figured it out, I've connected the dots, and the guy's like, no, you haven't. That was us because we had no idea what was going on. But it's just, that's part of the fun. Like we say this a lot, and this was before I was on the podcast. My kind of favorite fandom time when I was just a fan was right after The Force Awakens, because the door was wide open. There were so many, we're getting on that Star Wars ship and we could go anywhere. Now, not everybody agrees with the course that it took, but that period of time right before Last Jedi, Rogue One, Force Awakens had just wrapped up, like what a prime time to be a fan. And I feel like we're ready for another time like that.
Oh yeah.
And we might be getting that with Skeleton Crew and then everything else that's coming after it, leading up to The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, I agree. I think even the time before The Force Awakens came out, the wonderment of what was going to be told, like knowing that Luke, Han, and Leia were coming back, and even just seeing a correctly made Chewie costume in stills and all that, like that whole 2014, from the moment they showed the photo of that table read to when that movie came out and beyond, like it was so just such a like feel good time as a fan. And you and I have I've always said, like, we try to make this podcast feel that way all the time, because we're always on. It's like sometimes there's things we don't love and we talk about it and we're critical about it, but we handle it in a positive, respectful way. And I do think that feeling is going to come back. Now, there are a lot of people I know who are like, I don't want episode 10, 11, 12. He's like, I don't want to do that. Let's branch out more. And it's like,
and that's okay. That's all right if people feel that way.
And I think they are going to branch out more. I bet on the TV side, they may take some more risks there. But for the movies, we'll see what comes of the new things, because 10, 11, and 12 does not mean we're going back to the old ways. It means, no, it's just the next chapter. We're moving forward. Han, Luke, and Leia aren't going to be there, but these characters that we've met 10 years ago are going to feel familiar again, and we're going to have nostalgia for them. It's going to be a bizarre, weird thing to be like, oh, Dio, or oh my God, look at that. I can't believe that, he's back in Snap Wexley's son. I can't believe he had a son or something. Like, who knows what they're going to tell us.
Mhm.
I still like to think that maybe Snap survived and he could go back.
I do too, because Greg was just so kind and he's such a wonderful human being that you
Yeah,
just want to see him, succeed, I guess.
I agree. And he's got to come back on because I really hope he showed JJ the impression. So, but yeah, I
I
don't know, for people who didn't know, when we had Greg Grunberg on, Lacey was like, "Oh, John does a great JJ impression or whatever," and he's like, "All right, go ahead." And he filmed it on his phone and said, "Hey JJ, listen to this bozo doing an impression of you." And then I had to do a live
and
impression
he
of
texted it to him. He
yeah,
immediately sent it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's probably like, "What an idiot."
He also made us play like the tarantula or spider movie so that our video couldn't be monetized.
Yeah.
Which is somewhat funny, but like also like, come on, man.
Yeah. No, he was a great guest though.
He was really good.
All right. So Lacey, anything else you want to touch on that you're thankful for
Well,
new Star Wars?
So new Star Wars, no. I think I've talked to that kind of fully from State of Star Wars to now. But I do want to mention that since we're doing kind of this wonderful, nostalgic, loving feeling Star Wars chat, what we're thankful for, I do want to say that I'm thankful for Star Wars in general. Because I found it at a very young age, which I kind of connect with Johnny, is that I found it at like 6 or 7, and it's like made me who I am today. And then Star Wars in general led me on this journey to here, from not just like careers and stuff like that, where I took certain jobs because they were related to Star Wars or met people through Star Wars. But I found this podcast through Star Wars. And over the past 7+ years, whatever it is at this point, and we were just kind of joking about how I just had a kid. So it's like seemed like such a much longer time for me. These years have flown by. And I'm sure you feel the same way, John. Like, I don't even know. It just all happened so quickly. And it's hours and hours and hours and days and years of loving something so deeply, knowing every detail, being connected, being online, interacting with you guys. But I am so thankful for all of it because it's made me who I am today. And I don't think I would be just who I am without this community, without this podcast. It's made me, happy, joyful, confident, just a better person. And I don't know what I would do without it. So I'm just very thankful for it. So thank you to everybody that's listening and watching, because you've gotten me to this point now, and I am who I am because of you, because of
That's very nice.
talking about this thing. Yeah, I'm nice sometimes, John.
Oh, no, yeah, it's been 7 years. If you talk the collective of all of our shows, probably like 800 podcasts.
I joke, I just feel so old, and it's because I'm sure you're going to say this too, is that I didn't mean to cut you off. I just get very impassioned. I'm just such a different person than I was 7 years ago. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've had 2 kids. I've changed jobs. We lived through a pandemic. Like, all these things have happened that I'm just a different person, but in a good way. Like, I'm just more thoughtful, more thorough with what my things are, what I'm putting out, my word choices. Uh Lacey, early TRB was kind of a mess. A little bit.
Well, it's 7 years. I wasn't married. I didn't have kids when I started doing this. The first episode I ever did, I was guesting on, and I was up in my dining room table. Kathleen was barricaded in the bedroom. I was like, "You gotta be quiet." And I was sitting there with an
Now you're
iPad.
like, can you shut up?
Well, I'm sitting there with an iPad mini and just like headphones hooked up to it, and just leaning over and like talking and then muting and being like, "Oh my God." And now here we are, that many years later, the past 2 years, so many changes, going out and in just 100% independently, James leaving, us launching the second podcast, Nerdy and Nice. Like, we're taking all these risks because we love doing this so much. And it's not even taking risks. It's like dealing with change and the fact that we're still moving forward and we're still as consistent as we are in putting this stuff out. I'm thankful for our families for allowing us to be able to do that. It's not easy to do, when you're trying to really do it right and do it consistently. Like we're here pretty much every week doing it on a Wednesday night, Thursday night, live podcast, also recording Nerdy and Nice. And I'm proud of that, but I'm also thankful that, we are in situations where the both of us can do this, because I can't think of, like, I'll admit some days if I'm not feeling well or work was rough, I'm like, oh, it's podcast night. I got to do the show notes. I got to do it all that. But then I get down here, and as soon as we start recording, my mood lifts like naturally, and I feel better when I walk upstairs at the end of the night. My endorphins are rushing. I can't even go to sleep. I have to like watch a movie or something. Maybe I'll finish a Harry Potter tonight. I don't know. But I think just I'm thankful that we do get to do this, because I can't right now anyway picture my life without this. Like if you remove this from my life, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. So this, because I'm a very creative based person. I always wanted to sort of do that professionally, and my day job, which I love and appreciate, is not what I am passionate about. This allows me to keep that part of my head sane, that I get to at least have this. And if people weren't listening or watching, I wouldn't be here, so so thanks to you, Lacey, thanks to our families, thanks to our fans, thanks to Star Wars, thanks to George Lucas, and here's to 2025 and keeping it rolling. But also here's to a new Star Wars show and Galactic Goonies.
I can't say it enough. It's really fun. Please don't get me in trouble.
Trouble for what?
I don't know. Nothing.
What happened?
What? Nothing. Ready to go to the next segment?
I missed something, but yeah, let's go to the next segment.
What are we doing? Oh, right. Ask the Resistance. Yep.
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
All right. You, me.
You.
Okay.
You did on Blue Sky, so Mr. Blue Sky himself.
Blue Sky is the future. Yeah. So real quick, I see some people talking about it in the chat, so maybe people are interested. But if you haven't listened to Nerdy and Nice yet, it's Lacey and I, same style, same feeling, same vibe, talking about all the other stuff outside of Star Wars that we love, whether it's the superhero movies, sometimes reality TV, any other movies, TV, pop culture stuff that we like talking about. We get spicy for sure, but we have a lot of fun. We react to trailers on there. We talk about what we're watching. And the new thing that we're doing right now is Lacey reads the titles of crappy Hallmark Christmas movies, and I guess what the plot is. So if you like that, check out Nerdy and Nice. It's on its own feed, but it's a part of TRB, obviously. So we appreciate that. But let's get into some questions. We got Star Wars questions coming at us, and the first one, and yes, these are on Blue Sky. So shout out to the Lucasfilm Collector at Lucasfilm Collector on Blue Sky. Way to get your handle, the Lucasfilm Collector. And the question is, what is your most outside the box Blue Sky Star Wars wish for 2025? So Lacey, anything in Star Wars that could happen if you wish it, what is it?
They make a Solo 2.
Oh!
Hold on.
Do you have that sound effect on your phone?
Yes, I downloaded it for Daisy's birthday. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Wait.
We have to make a rule.
Solo 2. Alden's back. Jonas. It's a series, so we're getting 10 hours. And then they make a third series because it's so good.
All right. I'm close to that. Mine is that we hear that the Lando movie has started filming, and that
okay,
and that Alden Ehrenreich and Jonas Suotamo are returning for that.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
I feel so bad for Jonas because he is like Chewbacca, ridiculous, awesome. Then he gets to come back as a Wookiee Jedi, which he told us he wanted to be. Which who knows if he actually knew he was going to be that, by the way, when he was on our show. But he was like, I'd love to be a Wookiee Jedi. And then he was one. Then that guy gets sliced and diced. like episode 2.
Spoilers.
Whatever, it's been out. And yeah, I just want to see him back as Chewie.
Sliced and diced.
It's like Slap Chop.
Yeah, he got.
He did.
He did. But yeah, Lucasfilm Collector, let us know what your blue sky wish is. All right, we have Andrew French at Frenchy91 on Blue Sky. Andrew asked, and then here's the Ahsoka thing. Reports that Ahsoka Season 2 being developed as a, quote, fitting conclusion to the series in case the show does not get renewed for Season 3. Has the Acolyte cancellation caused more issues than thought for Star Wars storytelling moving forward? Does this impact the storytellers getting their vision out? Lacey, what are your thoughts on that?
You start with that one.
Okay. I think if you had said this about any other show, I would wonder about it. But because Dave Filoni is up the executive ladder now, if he wants Season 3 of Ahsoka, they're probably making Season 3 of Ahsoka, and they'll cut something else.
Season 71 of Ahsoka.
They'll be like, oh, Sean Levy, we budgeted you for a Star Wars project? Sorry. Dave needs to make Season 3 of Ahsoka. You're out. So I don't think that's the case. I think it's possible this rumor is true because Ahsoka needs to end so Dave can make that movie. So that's all I think it is. Lacey, I don't know about you. Do you think the Acolyte impacted Ahsoka if indeed the rumor's true that it's being fitted as a conclusion?
I think just like people make the argument about Solo and other Star Wars projects, I think when you look at Acolyte, it boils down to money, and the money spent did not translate to the views and attention that they wanted. So I think if anything is going to get changed because of the Acolyte, it's budgets. Disney's cutting budgets, Lucasfilm's cutting budgets. People aren't getting as much money they want to do those projects because Acolyte got what, $250 million or something ridiculous?
More than that with marketing and
yeah. So I to me, that's what the change would be that they have to make something lower budget. But at the same time, I know Iger came back in and kind of changed everything with The Mandalorian and Grogu. Like now they're saying that supposedly there's no other season of Mandalorian. Like this is it. This movie is it. But then they could be saying, hey, Season 2 of Ahsoka is going to come to a fitting conclusion because then Ahsoka and The Mandalorian get together in the Dave Filoni movie that he's working on. Like that's the culmination of these things. So the way that it's worded is looked like, oh, there's no Season 3. It must have failed. No, it's just growing to a bigger platform. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I think if anything, Acolyte was just money-based. Or maybe character-based, like they don't want to move forward with those characters. I don't think that impacts something else.
Yeah, I hear you. I think maybe the budgets definitely have to come down.
Yeah.
Because where are they making money off that? Like, I don't think they're getting new subscribers.
Je ne sais pas, John.
From the Acolyte. So I could just see them maybe doing more intimate stories, like less take less big swings on Disney Plus, and like make smaller budget. Like Obi-Wan's budget was one of the smaller of all of them. It also, in my opinion, wasn't the most well executed of the series, but that might be the lane we're looking at for budgets for future Star Wars shows, and maybe they test things out there. I don't know, but I don't think they're gonna cut budgets on the movies, though. They can't do that. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Next question. We have Mike Lovins at mlovins75. What up, buddy? How we doing, Mike? Happy Thanksgiving, pal. He said, if Thanksgiving existed in Star Wars, which character would host the best dinner? Which guest would bring the best dish? And which guest would bring the worst dish? And with that, happy Thanksgiving to you two and to the Resistance. Thanks, buddy. All right, Lacey, let's start with this first. Which Star Wars character would host the best Thanksgiving dinner?
You go first.
Dexter Jetster.
See, you say that, but you've openly said on our show that you would never eat there because he's dirty.
I would not eat there
Then how would he host the best dinner if you don't want to eat there?
because he'd host it at his house, and his wife would make him shower before cooking.
All right.
What do you think about that?
Okay. Sure.
I love how you're like, you go first, and then I say it, and you're like, you say that, but it's like the
I'm
Wizard
just
of Oz
saying,
argument.
You've said numerous
She
times
came
on
down
this.
in a bubble, dog.
Guys, it's been 7 years. I've heard every story there is to know about John, and he has said numerous times that Dex is disgusting and he would never eat there.
His diner is. I would never eat at
You don't think
dirty
his
diner.
house is disgusting as well?
No, because you know how like you ever, like in the Bear, how like their lives
I've
are
never seen the Bear.
well, so essentially it's all like hustle bustle and grimy and whatever in the restaurant, and then a lot of them live very simple, quiet lives at home, like where they even will only eat like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at home. They don't even want to like feel like cooking or anything. So it's like two different animals. I feel like Dex, that's where he is allowed to man out and just be gross and do be the cook and do his thing, and people are just cool with it because he's been there forever. It's this old school looking diner, very 50s old school. And then when he gets home, you got to hop in the shower, clean up. So I think if he cooks at home, because it's been around a long time, it's probably quality food. I just don't want to eat at his diner. That's all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
what's your pick?
a roundabout answer. I think the best person to host Thanksgiving would be Maz Kanata. She has the best location, numerous friends. Yes. Numerous. I'm talking Force Awakens, so that hasn't been destroyed yet. Numerous people that come in and out of there. It would be like an epic potluck of like the craziest people in the galaxy. You got heroes, you got droids, you got everybody. Everybody's bringing a little something. And she's probably got the best stories. She was like, you should have been at Thanksgiving here 3 years ago. You wouldn't believe what happened. That's what I think.
All right. How's the food over there?
I don't know. I haven't been. It's fictional, John.
It looks musty. I don't know. I bet they have mold at Maz's.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
In The Force Awakens, she provided fresh fruit to Rey, and Rey was there for 2 minutes. You don't think she's got great food there?
I mean,
That thing looked delicious. That thing that Rey's eating, I'd eat that.
I don't go to Thanksgiving for fresh fruit, though.
You know, Rey's bringing some of her green rolls with her. I've always wanted to try one of those.
Yeah, but for Thanksgiving?
I said rolls.
I know. I don't like it.
That's what she would bring. She would bring those green rolls.
All right, Maz. I'm glad my answer gave you time to think of that. So that's good.
I thought about that before, but I just wanted to come up with a better answer than you. And as soon as you said that, I knew my answer was good anyway.
Anytime Lacey says you go first, it's either,
no, I had my answer.
All right. Who would bring their guest? Who would bring the best dish?
Okay, you're up again. Go ahead.
No, you're up.
I have worst. Can I start with worst?
Sure.
Han Solo. Because he would forget and bring nothing.
That's not very nice.
Fact. He would forget and bring nothing. He'd be like, oh, that was today. Oh. And then he would just not bring anything.
Bogdor would forget for sure.
Maybe.
Class, I hope everyone brought in their Thanksgiving snacks. Just terrified. The worst dish would be Yoda.
Really? He's making up that stew. I bet it's good.
Did you see Luke try to eat that?
Okay.
Bring extra TP to dinner when you go to Yoda's house.
Right.
Best dish. That's tough for me. I'm going to say Shmi Skywalker.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that's who you said.
You know why? I feel like when I think about that scene in The Phantom Menace where they're all sitting around eating together, it feels like a family Thanksgiving dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jar Jar reaching over for an apple, and Qui-Gon's like, "Don't do that." And like,
very prequels tonight.
Qui-Gon's at the head of the table, and Shmi's at the other end. And if she had the resources, like she was a slave to Watto, and she probably didn't have a lot to work with, and she still like made a meal, and they were able to enjoy it. Like You gave
Mhm.
Shmi the resources, she probably would have whipped up something awesome. And she's the first Skywalker, so let's do it.
I'm gonna say Rio Durant because he's roasting some good stuff, and he's bringing good meats to
Rio's a good pick.
Thanksgiving.
I would
And that's
definitely
the
go to
pick you would have
Rio's.
made. You would have picked Rio, and I think you forgot about him because you said him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe he just didn't pop into my head.
The other week you said like something about eating. It was something eating. Like who would you want to have to dinner or something? You said Rio Durant because he's got the
Oh,
meats.
I would love. Yeah, what was it? Go to a barbecue or something like that. Like, I
Yeah.
just want to hang out with Rio Durant. Like, seems like a good time to hang
But
out with
like
that
look
guy.
how very specific he was in Solo, and like he was like basting that meat and like moving around, talking about having a
Socializing while
cantina.
cooking. Yeah,
Yeah, having a cantina. He's hosting a good party and or he's controlling the meats. He's in the kitchen at Maz Kanata's. Just
I thought you were gonna pick Kelnaka for Jonas because he was cooking up a feast himself.
yeah,
In
and then
that
he got killed.
I'm sorry. Is
He's
that
clearly not safe in his own kitchen. So why would I want to bring him into another kitchen?
Jeez. All right.
I'm
Very...
going. We should put those up and see which people prefer. I'm
No, it's
saying
not
Maz
fair
Kanata
because you.
hosts,
No, that's not
Rio
fair.
Durant
It's
cooks
not
the
fair.
meat,
No,
Han Solo forgets
no,
his dish.
no.
Tell me in the comments right now why I'm right and John's wrong.
Jeez. All right, we got
Are
one
you?
more.
Do you not stand by your picks?
I don't really stand by my picks.
Ooh, that's a first.
Yeah.
I'm like taken aback. Usually you're pretty passionate about your picks. Is it because I took 2 of your picks?
No, it's because I think I thought of bad picks.
Because Rio Durant was definitely your pick.
I did my best to try to sell my picks, and I didn't do a good job.
You did
Everyone's like,
not.
"No, I'm not going to Dex's house." That guy gets showered 12 times for every parsec outside the Rishi maze, and I will not go to his house for Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, probably not.
It's these funny little spikes on the side that give it away. All right. We have one more question. It's a non-Star Wars, but it is on theme. And Star Wars is all about themes.
Mm.
So this one is from Mike Ramori at Drum Jedi on Blue Sky. And Mike said, "What's your favorite Thanksgiving dish/food?"
Can I just say my favorite meal of the year is Thanksgiving? Like everyone always asks, like, what's the last meal you'd ever have in your life? Thanksgiving. All the fixins, Thanksgiving. It is my favorite meal. Food wise, that's tricky because I love everything so much. Like I love stuffing, I love cranberry sauce, I love mashed potatoes. Basically carbs. I love carbs.
Hmm.
I love pie.
Mm-hmm.
John, do you have an answer? I like this is one of those
I do have
questions
an answer.
really tough for me. Okay, go.
Yeah, my grandpa, he's still with
Potato
us to this day.
croquettes.
Thank you for stealing my answer.
I'm so proud when I remember your stories.
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yes.
He fries mashed potatoes. They're called potato croquettes, and they're crunchy on the outside, soft mashed potatoes on the inside, and I could eat them by the dozen.
Did you
so
learn
good.
to make them yourself?
No.
You should learn while
Yeah, I'll
he's
learn.
here to make them so that you can continue the tradition.
Yeah, I should do that.
Have me over. I'll learn it. I'm a very good cook.
You're not stealing the potato croquettes, Gillerin.
Why not?
Take your pies and go home.
I've gotten very good at cooking in the past year and I've gotten a little cocky about it. Although last weekend, it was Daisy's birthday party and I made fresh meatballs with like Italian sauce, everything. And I made the viral mac and cheese from TikTok from that chef Teeny. And I was all excited to make it. It was like a whole process. It was beautiful. I like folded in the cheese, Schitt's Creek style. I was like all about it. And I put it in the oven and it was done, but people weren't showing up for 30 minutes. So my mom was like, "Oh, just let it warm in the oven, blah, blah." I shouldn't have done that. It overcooked and I was almost in tears. I was so upset. It still tasted good, but it wasn't the gooiness that I wanted. So I'm still learning, but in the past year I've gotten pretty cocky. I make a really good baked ziti now, like really good. I'm like
Nice.
really good at casseroles. I don't know why. Maybe it's like an American thing. Very good at casseroles.
What else?
Who would have a good Star Wars casserole? Who would cook the best casserole as a Star Wars character?
Grand Moff Tarkin.
I feel like it would be Lando because he'd pay someone to make it for him.
You think so?
Yeah, probably.
I bet. You know who?
Hmm.
Daedra. Like,
why her? Oh, because
she's
she'd
such
follow it so specifically.
well, that and also like, there's nothing remotely like warm about her. She's this very
Are you just talking about me and using Deidre to like?
no. What is with you tonight? You're like,
Because it's literally like I'm really good at casseroles, and you're like, Deidre, she's like super cold, so like she'd be good at casseroles because like.
are you saying you're cold?
No, it's just funny because it just paralleled what I was saying, and you're like, because she's like the worst person ever. She kind of sucks, so like she has to have one redeeming thing about her. So then like she's probably good at casseroles.
No,
That's what I heard, and that to me is hilarious.
there's a lot to unpack. A lot to unpack. No, I just think that'd be funny. I don't have a good answer for that, so I just think it'd be funny if like the coldest person that we've seen recently in the galaxy just like churned up a dynamite casserole, and then, but after she cooks it, she smashes it into the wall. She's like, no one's gonna eat this.
Or she burns it and then smashes it. She's that type of person.
Oh, it's perfect. She'll make it perfect.
Oh, you think so?
She's
Michelle makes a good point. She says Hera because she's got the mom vibe. She's taking care of everything and making it tasty. That's a good point.
Yeah, who's gonna eat it though?
Her son.
He's off. He's trying to go on Jedi adventures. He wants nothing to do with being at home.
All
All right, let's end the show. Do we have wait, no, we have super chats. How dare
We
I?
do have one more super chat.
2 more.
We already did that one. One more. We already did Darth Snips.
What about Danny's?
I don't see Danny's. What's Danny's super chat?
Let me put it up on screen. Oh no, that's just an Ask the Resistance that you starred actually.
Yeah, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, let's answer it quick because I think.
All right, Simplify Danny. Sorry for the confusion. Ask the
Yeah.
Resistance. I've read more than a few speculation articles suggesting that Jude Law's character is a failed clone strain of Palpatine and Dathan. Are you yay or nay on that prospect? I'm going to give you a big nay. From watching the roundtables with the creators, he is very much a pirate, like smuggler, hustler, trying to survive in the world. That's what it comes across as to me from the interviews with them and from the trailers. And then the piece they put out this week from the StarWars.com account where they were like, is he a good guy or isn't he a good guy? AKA, he's a good guy.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the questions I got to ask John Watson, Chris Ford. So exclusive. They said he's basically like an Errol Flynn throwback to old swashbuckling pirates. And yeah, I don't know where who's speculating that, but that is some wild stuff, and I think it's absolutely incorrect.
That is wild. I think people are just always looking for Star Wars connections, which I understand because a lot of this stuff is intertwined and there's Easter eggs and stuff.
Palpatine.
It seems like the creators a lot from their discussions have said that they wanted to make him his own character and they didn't necessarily want him tied to anything. There was the option that he could be, but they and I see that as a casting director too. Like, you don't pitch this to Jude Law of like, oh, you're connected to Palpatine.
Yeah,
but no, he's his own character.
I used to write editorials and stuff like that, and that I'm not trying to like dunk on anybody, but that's such a low hanging fruit. Like the Palpatine, really, another strand failed.
You're telling me.
Thing? Like, that's come on, guys. All right. And then we have the super chat.
A super chat from Sooner Thron. What up, man? Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving. He says, check out Macy's Day Parade tomorrow, 8:30 to 12 Eastern. My daughter is Hebron Drill Carrollton, Texas. Oh, Carrollton, Texas. Her team is in the parade. Gobble gobble.
Hey, all right.
That's really awesome.
Congrats.
That's so cool. That's really cool. Congratulations. So everybody look out for Sooner Thron's daughter. Hope she has a great parade. We'll be watching. Happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sooner Thrawn. Hope all is well. Happy Thanksgiving. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. That's the end of the show. In just a couple minutes, we're going to head over to our TRB Patreon Friendsgiving. So we'll see some of you over there. Everyone else, we just hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're in the U.S., long weekend. Hopefully be safe if you're still doing the whole crazy shopping thing. And for everyone else, we hope you're doing well. Like we said before, make sure you're following us at TRB Podcasts and at Nerdy and Nice Pod on all social media platforms, and subscribe to both podcasts on their own feeds. Leave reviews, leave 5-star ratings, spread the word throughout the land. Please tell all about us, and check out our site. It's not just a store. It's going to be our public hub, trbpodcasts.com. And remember, Friday only, the bomber jacket, 10% off. trbpodcast.com. Use the code TRB Black Friday, and you could have one of those awesome jackets. And I'm excited that I'm getting one. Very cool. And then a lot of our Galactic Goonies merch, of course. And thanks to everybody who's already picked stuff up. We've seen some photos of what people have gotten, and they look great, and they got them relatively quickly. So we're very excited about that, because we've been hoping to improve our merch stuff for a while. And then, as Lacey's going through the images here, don't forget, December 4th, Galactic Goonies. Me and Lacey kicking things off, talking all about episodes 1 and 2 of Skeleton Crew. So watch Skeleton Crew Monday night, then hang with us on the 4th to kick things off. And bring your ratings. We're going to talk, and make sure you get whatever code we come up with for the giveaway. And then the weeks thereafter, December 11th, Alex and Mac from Children of the Watch. December 18th, Alex and Molly from Star Wars Explained. And December 27th, not an Alex, but Jen Marie.
I thought of that when I was making this. I was like, oh, Alex and.
Like, they only like Alex's for some reason.
But she's Anakin and. So
we should have Alex Trebek on. He died, unfortunately. But yeah, more guests to come.
Weird comment. What?
Yeah, more guests to come as we move forward. So we're so excited to talk with this group here for episodes 3, 4, and 5. And we already have some guests booked for the back half. Still filling some slots and doing some reach outs. But join us. It's going to be a great time, whether it's live or on the podcast feed. Galactic Goonies is going to be a blast, and you're a big part of that. So thank you all. A big shout out to our Patreon generals and Spice Runners: Carmelo, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Danny, Mike Ramori, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Jolton Jedi DiMaggio, Colin Cormier, Steve Garrow, and Sachi, and the Spice Runners: David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gellner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and the Fort Worthian. And however you listen to TRB, watch TRB, like TRB, thank you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Johnny Hoey for me on Blue Sky. That's the main spot. Also on X. And you got the pod stuff. Lacey, how about you?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gillerin and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gillerin. And I just wanted to say once again, I'm thankful for all of you, for listening, for watching, for liking, for sharing, for just being a part of the community. We really appreciate it. You're supporting us, what we do here, our dream of doing this full time. You guys are there for us, and it means so much. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Please share your dishes. I love seeing what people eat on Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Like people's plates in for it. Yep.
Very cool. All right. That's it for us. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you. Well, TRB you won't see until 2025, but we'll see all you Galactic Goonies on December 4th, 8:30 p.m. East. And, of course, Nerdy and Nice on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you around, kids.